Well, the French Academy at number 1 is Jacome Freycinou, 2 is Philippe Ricard, 3 is Jean, 4 is Chamaran, 5 is Forval, 6 is Bonatti, 7 Frédéric Abadi, 8 is Jacome Bisson, 9 is Frédéric Soulan, 10 is Sébastien Boucher, 11 Pascal Jeanpi, 12 Frédéric Tixto, and the loose forward is Vincent Barnet. Well, Great Britain line up with Christian Tyra at number 1, coming in as a late replacement for Paul Aitchison of Widnes. 2, Anthony Barrett. 3 is Deo Powell. 4, Paul Stevens. 5, Phil Cousins. 6 is Jason Robinson. 7, Gareth Stevens. 8 is Barry John Mather. 9 at hooker is Richard Chamberlain. 10 is Mark Hilton. 11, the highly rated Andy Farrell. 12, Dean Busby of Hull. And the loose forward and captain of the team is Steve McCurry from Widnes. On the bench we have Wigan's Mick Cassidy, Nigel Wright from Wakefield, Jamie Leighton from Hull Kingston Rovers, and Alex Thompson, who also came late into the squad from the Sheffield Eagles. And so the two captains toss up, Steve McCurry from Widnes and his opposite number Pascal Jeanpi, who plays in France for Catalan. Alongside him we have a man who knows the Great Britain side as well as anybody, Sean Edwards. A very good side, some great prospects in this team.
There certainly is some great prospects in the Great Britain team, particularly in the forwards. I'll be looking for a very, very aggressive start to the game from some big hitters in Barry John Mather and Anthony Farrell. The rest of the guys, Mark Hilton, all very mobile forwards, and we'll be looking for an exciting start to the game.
So Great Britain kick off with Christian Tyra, and immediately the Frenchman is brought down by 5 very eager young Great Britain players. The French moving the ball around well. And a rather high tackle, but the Great British forwards, the pack, just showing that they mean business. And an early kick for the Frenchman. Manages to hit a cameraman, so they were showing their meaning business already with the Sky Television crew to our right-hand side. And again, good tackling by the Great Britain players on the halfway line. The hooker moving the ball around nicely, and they make 4 or 5 good passes. 10, 15 yards inside the Great Britain half. All the French in these early stages. Abadi, the man who was rather instrumental in the opening stages of the game over in Perpignan.
I think you can notice the Great Britain side are using a very short, jammed-in line defence. Trying to get 2 and 3 numbers in every tackle. They're using a gang tackle style of defence. Can be very effective if used properly.
The Frenchmen managing to move the ball around though, but when they are stopped, they're stopped in full flow, as we see at this moment. Jason Robinson from Wigan getting in there, and again the French are going to kick and making good distance there, but waiting for it, hoping to judge the bounce. Phil Cousins from Salford, and he makes a good 10 or 11 yards before being brought down by the reception committee. Plenty of shouting out there, and the loudest voices of Jacome Freycinou, the full-back for the French. And this is really the first time the Great British players have had a chance to move forward. A little bit of rusty hand movement there from Mark Hilton from Warrington, gives the French the ball. The little man Bonatti again deciding to go alone, but not making any progress and being pushed back a few yards by the waiting Great Britain players. And again he runs into the big Andy Farrell there from Wigan, an absolute giant.
That's one of the benefits of using a jam line defence, is because each defender is shoulder to shoulder with each other, and if people do come down the middle, usually can get a good solid hit on them.
The Frenchman moving well down the left-hand side of the field, and I think it's Favol there, it's just close in on the touchline. The French moving it across the line. Abadi playing it to the big number 10, Boucher, and into the Great Britain 25. The British players waiting, the Frenchman moving the ball across the line. Not too much on there, kick over the top, but that's coming to nothing at all, really. Good little stop from Gareth Stevens, the lead scrum half.
I think the Great Britain side need to get a good set of 6 under the belts here. 2 or 3 runs from dummy half, as we're seeing, and then a good kick and chase down probably into one of the corner flags of the French territory.
The Frenchmen are already showing that they're not bad defensively, are they?
Certainly not. They're moving up very quickly and very aggressively. I think Great Britain are possibly keeping it a little bit too tight, but this penalty will take the pressure of them, and then they can hit some of the pattern hopefully down in the French half.
and can make a little bit of yardage. In the opening game over there in Perpignan, it was the Frenchman who showed the better in the opening stages, and Paul Aitchison from Widnes, who was full back on that occasion, got in a few try-saving tackles. And it looks as though the Great British team, despite being on home soil here at Wigan, of course the home of the champions, which is packed most Sunday afternoons and rather sparsely populated this evening, but I'm sure the Great Britain players will imagine that every little step on the terrace is filled.
This fella's very dangerous, the guy with the ball, Jason Robinson. Tremendous individual play with lightning speed off the mark. Must watch him.
He's got a couple of tries in the trial and a try over there in France, Jason Robinson. And Great Britain really in the French half for the first time in this game so far. A kick forward, and he's made some good distance, but again, the French fall back. Fressineau is waiting forward, he'll come forward rather confidently there, not showing any nerves whatsoever with his shin pads showing. But again, the Great British players getting in there, 3 of them meeting him. Big number 10, Mark Hilton, hard grafting player, no-nonsense player. And McCurry, very eager, a captain going the wrong way, and the Frenchman moving out. The big number 10, Boucher, plays for Toulouse. He looks a lot older than the under-18 age mark in this particular game.
Tremendous set of 6 there from the Great Britain boys. Good pressure on the chase. France struggled to get out to the 25 and had to resort to the kick. Now they've got the ball around the halfway line. And they must work into some kind of pattern here and put a set play on, probably on the 3rd or 4th ruck.
Phil Cousins of Salford also scored 2 tries over in Perpignan. And Great Britain just trying to make a little bit of distance now. The referee spotting an infringement. And this will be the first scrum down of the game. Plenty of noise out there. Christian Tyra offering a little bit of advice to the men in front of him. The ball goes in. And not surprisingly, the French bring it out, moving it across well. That's Forval.
The better handling so far in the game has certainly come from the French team, where Great Britain trying to rely on their aggressive defence, as you can see here. 3 or 4 men in the tackle again. But I've been a little bit disappointed with the attacking play of Great Britain so far.
The ball hasn't been moved around too fluently, but certainly nobody out there for an international. Very big evening for these chaps. Nobody's showing too much nerves.
No, I think the dummy half work of the Great Britain side so far has been very lax. They've lost the ball twice in the dummy half region, and I think they should consolidate a little bit with more running like this from Andrew Farrell, and then after 20 minutes of the game, begin to move the ball out a little bit more then.
Andrew Farrell, who forms a very good partnership in the forwards with Holes Busby, and Great Britain have the advantage on the halfway line.
This is a perfect opportunity for Great Britain to put a set play on. Seem to be in trouble at the moment, trying to get a roll on. They play the balls a little bit slower than they should be, and I think that's one of the reasons the French defence is moving up so quickly and so aggressively.
Great Britain just seem to be using their weight and maybe their greater maturity at the moment.
Yeah, they're kind of consolidating, trying to use the power game early on, but it's backfired a little bit early on because they lost the ball early in the tackle thing. But here's a good opportunity to trying to get some pressure on with the big back rows running wide.
Cousins looks one of the brighter players so far in this game. Just behind him, Richard Chamberlain from Hull Kingston Rovers. Great Britain moving the ball along the line. Mark Hilton showing his strength, but again the big number 10, Sebastian Boucher, pushing him to the ground. Chamberlain, the short ball, and again a little fumble. The referee quite satisfied the ball didn't touch the ground there, and Great Britain approached the 25 yards of the French. Moving along the line, across to Cousins. Cousins again is met by 3 Frenchmen. A slap to the face. But Cousins being the outstanding man for me so far in this game. Robertson tries to get things going. Sean was saying an outstanding prospect at Central Park. And the bomb. Who's going to get under this one, I wonder? Moving in well is the Great Britain number 2. Didn't quite judge it well enough. Anthony Barrett from Leeds.
An absolutely splendid bomb there.
So the French under their own posts. Doesn't get a great deal of distance, and that's met by Andrew Farrell, who's head and shoulders above everybody on this field, literally. Stands something like 6'7". And there's another one of the big forwards. How tall is he?
I think you got the wrong one there. Barry John Mather is 6'7". Anthony Farrell certainly no midget himself, standing around about 6'3.5". Shouldn't have been big in Wigan nowadays.
Chamberlain, the ball coming wide. First chances for Great Britain, but a good piece of defending from Ricard, the French number 2. And Tyra is going to be brought down there. It looked dangerous. If they could have moved the ball out to the line, we could have seen the opening try of the game.
I think Paul Stevens should have probably looked for his winger. It's good defence from the French right wing, but a tremendous pass from Gareth Stevens.
I'm not quite sure what that was. I don't know if it was an attempt at a drop goal. He was trying to find somebody on the right-hand side of the field as Great Britain attack, but it certainly put the French on the attack on the far side of the field, but that chance is completely wasted by the wingman. I think it was Forval out there. And Great Britain again have possession. Really, the French then could have done with making a bit more distance and holding on to the ball, and possibly a bit of inexperience showing in the youngsters.
If Great Britain can control his next 3 or 4 sets of rucks, I believe, if they can contain the pressure on the French, I think they'll crack. I think we'll see a score.
It looks as though a try is on the cards. Andy Farrell and the other forwards making good distance. It's moved again across the line. We have 3 players waiting on this far side of the field if you can get it out of there. And the referee again right on the spot, and we see the second scrum of the game.
Yeah, once again we see Great Britain losing the possession before the 6th tackle. Particularly distressing to see the way the Great Britain forwards are going at the moment. They're losing far too much ball on regular and 3rd and 4th tackle, not putting any pressure on the French team at all.
You have to make it count. The ball comes out for the French. Frédéric Abadi, the French man of the match in Perpignan. Chamberlain getting in some good tackles early on. The French moving it again. Number 8, Bisson, plays for Villeneuve.
Good defence there from Paul Stevens. He switched from the other side of the ruck to spot that overlap that the French have and snuffed it out well with a good low ankle tackle.
The Frenchman trying to get the ball moving. I think a forward pass in there, but only just. The man was on the ground anyway.
French seem to have 2 very, very powerful centres, both with handling skills, trying to get the ball away in the tackle. And I think if that pass would have been ruled as a fair pass, I think we could have seen a try there, a centimetre try.
Great Britain's first scrum of the game, just inside the French half. A bit of distance from Jason Robinson. The man very brave going in.
If Great Britain could go back to where the scrum's just been, there's a massive gap there, but once we see a penalty again to the Great Britain side, I think we'll have a shot for goal here.
We could see an early kick-out goal. The captain, Steve McCurry, opting for that. And Great Britain have an early chance to put a couple of points on the board here. Not a bad crowd at Central Park for this game. There's a lot of fans behind the goal that Andy Farrell is about to kick at. And I'm sure every player out there, Sean, would imagine there's 30,000 people watching it. It's such a big occasion for them.
Yeah, they've been drilled by the coach to not even take the crowd into consideration, remembering that they are playing an international game, and it's a mind-over-matter type of situation, and they've got to remember that they are playing for the country, and some of the guys are also playing for the future, because I'm sure some of these guys could maybe make the Great Britain 21s team later in the year or even next year.
Already a number of players have played in the Stonesborough Championship First Division, but an unsuccessful first attempt at goal from the big number 11, Wigan's Andy Farrell. He didn't take the kicks over in Perpignan. The kicks over there were taken by Christian Tyra, who's playing full-back tonight. On that occasion, he was playing at stand-off. So, blank here at Central Park so far in this game, and the Frenchman looking extremely competent, especially that big fella, the big number 10, who moves the ball on. Boucher setting up the attack, and the Frenchmen make a good 20 yards there, coming well out of defence. Across the line, Bernati involved again, over to the far touchline. And again, good tackling, and the Frenchmen not being able to hold on to this ball when they're getting some very dangerous positions.
They're looking very dangerous down the left-hand wing there. Not quite sure what's happening on defence over on the Great Britain side, but as you said, the French not taking the chances, spilling the ball, the same as the Great Britain side have been doing on the 3rd and 4th tackle. But the French seem very apt at slipping the ball away in tackle, one-handed passes. Looking very dangerous with the half-backs coming off the forwards.
Showing plenty of flair. And Great Britain now trying to make a little bit of distance, trying to get inside that French half again. They'll just run at the Frenchman. shown this early on. McCurry making a bit of space, then he beats the referee, who gets taken down in the action as well. I'm sure he won't care about the man in black, who recovers extremely well. But a good run from McCurry. Back to Chamberlain. The big 12, Dean Busby from Hull FC kicking forward. But just stumbling a bit on what is a very flat and sandy surface out there, and Favol picks up, brings it out of defence.
The French wingers seem to be dropping back a long way on the 4th and 5th tackle, anticipating the kick from Great Britain. I think it could be a great option for the Great Britain halfbacks to spot this and possibly try to move it on the 5th tackle.
The Frenchmen who have the ball at the moment, though, the big forward Frédéric Texto, who plays for Limoux. I do apologise if any of the pronunciation is incorrect tonight, but this is what I was given by one of the other northern journalists. And the French number 6, Pascal Bernardi, moving forward. The loose forward, Barnet, across the line. There's a man spare out here. This is Ricard, who's got the pace. He gets around McCurry, just shoves him off. Is he going to get in at the corner? A tackle by the fullback, Christian Tyra, but it's not enough, and he gets over. And I would like to say against the run of play, the Frenchmen have taken the lead, but it's been quite evenly balanced so far. The French ahead.
The French have been far more dangerous with the ball in hands, made a lot more breaks than Great Britain. Great Britain making too many hard tackles, going for the head too much instead of hitting lower.
So 4-0 to the Frenchmen. So it started with McCurry being pushed off the ball on the near side. It didn't look as though the Frenchman was going to get in at the line, but he just shoved himself away from Tyra to score the opening try.
Very, very determined running from the French right winger. The French created an overlap down this right-hand side. I think Phil Cousins shot in for a defensive, on a defensive play when he should have probably faded out with his wingman. He took the gamble, did Phil, and the right winger of France got away. He showed tremendous pace and power to power his way over the line in the corner, cutting inside Christian Tyra, who made a last-ditch attempt to stop him. But the strength and pace of this French wingman, very, very impressive. When the ball has been moved out wide by the French, the defensive play, positional play of the centres and wings of Great Britain has been very, very poor, and I'll be looking for a much improvement in this area of the play.
Andy Farrell to kick, left-footed. The wind takes it slightly inside and gathered just underneath his own post by the French back. And again, the two big forwards for Great Britain, big Barry John Mather and Mark Hilton involved there, but the Frenchman moving it quickly. But they've been tackled very quickly. The English forwards moving up faster than them whenever they get the ball, as he will be now. Dean Busby of Hull involved there. Dean Busby, who played in last May's Premiership final for Hull FC when they were successful against Widnes. As I say, one or two players have played first-team football in the Stonesborough Championship.
Once again, Great Britain cut up down the right wing, the Great Britain defensive right wing, and only a poor inside pass by the Frenchman prevented a much longer break for the French guys. Great Britain, as we said before, using this short line defence and the positional play of the outside backs, there's not been enough pressure being laid on the second receiver of the French team, and enabling him to spray long passes out, and it's cutting the Great Britain side up.
Great Britain have a chance now. A couple of men spare on this side. A good run forward. It is a determined run by Great Britain. It's going to be an outstanding try for Robinson. He really created that. That is what you call an individual try.
How good is this bloke? This kid can play. Tremendous individual try from a set-piece scrum. The French defence all flat land up on him. Good fend off his right hand, and it shows that blistering pace that we talked about. This kid is something else. Going to be a tremendous player in the future.
I was told before the game that he has blistering pace. I put that down in my commentary notes, but the Frenchman there saw the back of his boots, the studs of his boots showing as he ran, 40 yards across the field diagonally to go around a couple of defenders and score the opening try to equalise the game. So, level pegging. But that was an outstanding individual try which levelled it for Great Britain. The French go on the attack again, but that'll maybe give the Great British players a little bit of confidence there.
Yeah, we said after the try by the French that hopefully it could shock Great Britain to a bit of action. But it certainly shoot Jason Robinson into action. Absolutely outstanding individual try. And Great Britain, what they need to do here is power the ball up to around the 40-yard line, 50 halfway, and then get a good kick and chase on and get the French back under pressure in their own 25.
It shows that there is pace in the Great British side. We've only seen it once, and that has brought a try. But Great Britain now using the maturity and the weight that they have in their side, at least getting out of their own 25. Farrell again, a big star. He's said to be in the making, and a woo from the crowd underneath me, taking a whack to the side of his face, Paul Stevens, who again was a reserve in the game over in France. Barry John Mather takes some getting down, but the Frenchman managed to do that. I haven't seen too much from him so far in this game. And a long kick from Andy Farrell, getting some good distance. The Frenchman grabbing and missing. The ball bouncing around agonisingly for Great Britain. Nobody can quite get on the end of it. And the French bring it away.
Good kick and chase there from the Great Britain side. To control the ball for 4 or 5 tackles and then give it to Andy Farrell. He's got tremendous left foot kick on him. And a great chase by the Great Britain side. Now they've got to pressure the French into a fumble or something so they can get the ball back around about in this area.
It's exactly what you were saying just a minute ago, though, wasn't it? It was as if they could almost hear what you were saying up here.
Yeah, I've coached these guys once or twice before.
I'm sure the words of Shaun Edwards will be going through their minds as they're playing. Having to defend for the moment, though, is Abadi, who moves it across to the other half-back. Benatti, Pascal. And the French again are going to move it. They decide to kick, but that's going to be quite an easy one for Phil Cousins. Well, I say so, he almost drops the thing, but he hangs on to it for the second time and makes 4 or 5 yards. A frightening moment, but he'll be happy to hang on at the second attempt. Short to Stevens. As Shaun Edwards was saying, they've just got to move the ball forward and then explode when they get into the French half. Chamberlain moving the ball across to Mark Hilton of Warrington. Close to the halfway line now.
The French backs are creeping up in umbrella-style defence, trying to cut the Great Britain side off.
Stevens starting this move, and this time it's going to be Powell who's showing his pace, but a very good tackle from Forval, who plays for Villeneuve, the scorer. But Britain starting to show their paces now. The chance on this left-hand side of the field, and Cousins is going to score. And as Shaun Edwards was saying, it's as if some of these Northwest players know exactly what the star of Wigan up here wants them to do. Reading the script perfectly, and that is the second try of the game.
The initial break came from Gareth Stevens on the right-hand side. I've just said the French defence was shooting up quickly, umbrella-style. Caused the initial opening, then Great Britain spun the ball out wide. Very well, good deep back line, 2 long spin passes, and Paul Stevens created an overlap for his wingman in great centre style, and can't give this kid an inch, Phil Cousins, because he can certainly go a bit, and Phil finished it off in fine style. Great Britain must now, though, go for the throw on the French team. If they can get another quick score, maybe 2 more quick scores, I'm sure the French will feel the pressure very, very much from the Great Britain side. As I said, they must control the ball here and maybe trying to spin it wide on the 3rd or 4th tackle.
So Cousins and Robinson, the 2 try scorers so far, both scored over in Perpignan. Cousins, in fact, got 2 tries over there. But the Frenchman possibly slightly afraid of him, especially when he gets the ball. Here's a good chance for Dean Busby to make some ground. Does so, passes on the responsibility. The Frenchman having problems hanging on to the Great British shirt.
It's Dio Powell, he just refuses to be tackled. Very, very strong when he gets the ball. Keeps pumping his legs in the tackle, and the French are having a lot of problems with him.
Dio Powell of Bradford, who scored a try in his first team debut in the Yorkshire Cup against Castleford, and Great Britain attack again. This time Robinson, the scorer of the first try, making some good distance, getting his head and shoulders down. Dangerous player. Britain moving it across from left to right. McCurry to Farrell. On the far side, going down under a heavy challenge is Anthony Barrett.
We've seen 2 contrasting styles from the half-backs of the Great Britain. One the individual, supreme individual in Robinson, the other the organiser in Gareth Stevens, moving the ball and working his forwards well.
Again, the Frenchman handling the ball well under pressure, and a cheeky little foot going in from Christian Tyra, who'd gone in there for the challenge, read it quite well and almost paid off for him, but the pitch, unfortunately, was just a little bit too short. It likes possibly another 5 yards to have been on the field then, and we could have seen a 3rd try.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit disappointed in himself there, Christian, with that kick. Great Britain had the French under pressure on their own line, and this is giving them a chance to set themselves and maybe get down deep in the Great Britain half.
So the Frenchman with the ball at the moment. It's that big number 10 Boucher again. It takes a lot of power and a lot of aggression to bring him down. He's not exactly a mobile forward, but a bulky forward. Bit of basketball or netball style now, with the number 2 Ricard moves inside. And takes some tackling there from Farrell, but he finally gets him down with the help of Richard Chamberlain. French moving the ball across the line. A little dummy from Bernati. Makes a few yards, but McCurry's there.
Been impressed with the handling of both scrum halves and from the French team and the Great Britain side. Some of the spin passes have been covering 15-20 yards and hitting his runners straight in the belly. Very commendable play from both scrum halves.
Sharp play from the Frenchman, a good kick there, and Anthony Barrett not able to catch up with it, not judging the bounce. He was always moving away from him, and the Frenchman getting deep into the Great Britain half. A few yards inside the 25, and it'll be a scrum. Going to be Gareth Stevens to put the ball in, son of course of Great Britain and Wigan's Gary Stevens. As a substitute against St Helens in the cup tie, another player of experience. And Great Britain have to bring the ball out of defence, and they're going to do that through the little number 6 Jason Robinson.
Just Jason Robinson's so tough, it's unbelievable. He don't mind taking on the forwards and all night. He just runs from dummy half, makes the hard yards, and even scores tries when he gets in the opposition's territory. Tremendous player.
Another highly rated player, Hilton, a man full of graft, high work rate, no nonsense player. But him moving again to McCurry, who's showing a lot of maturity. Already almost a fixture in the Widnes side when they have 1 or 2 injuries. McCurry comes in and does very, very well. A long kick forward again from Farrell. It's going to bounce quite well for the Frenchman, who's going to have a run at Great Britain. The big number 1, Freycinou. And he's brought down 10 yards inside the Great Britain half. The Frenchman having the ball, no one around to tackle, and maybe could have made a bit more of that, but Banet gets a run. The big number 10 again runs into the big number 8 of Great Britain, the one man who can actually handle him man-to-man, Barry John Mather. And again, another good pass from the little French number 7. As Sean was saying, everything is crisp from him. And Banet makes distance. Behind him is Soulan. Soulan across to Abadi. Abadi to the other half-back, Bernati. And again, the number 2 is going to have a go. Ricard cutting inside, left off his right foot. But he's met by Phil Cousins. And Cousins brings him down, but anxious moments this for Great Britain. Abadi across to Jean. Jean over to the far side, well collected by Forval, but they run out of tackles.
Great Britain's side look a little bit tired at the blowing. This is a good call for the backs to get in, take some pressure off the forwards, and make some good hard yards straight up the middle.
It'd be good to see a few runs from 1 or 2 of these promising young Great Britain players. Phil Cousins already showing a bit of pace on this left side of the field. We haven't seen too much of Powell as yet, the Bradford player.
Dio Powell, the defence is a bit leaky on that side of the field. He's been struggling in tackles, but he's just not had the chances to show his pace. I think when the Great Britain forwards are going up, they seem to be going in ones, whereas the French players, when they grow, even though they don't play to a strict pattern as the Great Britain side is doing, the support plays a little bit better.
Hilton again making distance, comes back to Farrell, he kicks, but it bounces inside rather than outside, and Freycinou lets it come almost to a rest. He's met by Big John Mather and McCurry, and the French again have possession. I think if we were actually counting minutes of the ball being in the hands of players, the French possibly would have had more possession in this game so far, but Great Britain are leading. It's the Frenchman again, the little number 7 Abadi, who has been outstanding in this game, and apparently the game in Perpignan as well, letting the ball go at just the right moment. Ricard taking it on.
As you see, once again, a tremendous support play from the French. As soon as a man hits the ball, hits the line, turns, there's a Frenchman hanging off his shoulder, usually one of the backs.
Abadi to Barney across the line, and we're going to have to see some stern defensive play on that right-hand side of the field from Barrett and Powell. We haven't done too much attacking-wise. Haven't seen too many offsides in this game so far. It's one good thing, at least.
Yeah, I think the referee's been very, very lenient with the offside rule. As we said before, the French were using umbrella-style defence, moving up very quickly at wide, and I think this referee was helping them to do this.
Abadi
cut him open again.
to Boucher. We were saying that it is really the difference between the right and left-hand side of the field for Great Britain, because over there on the right-hand side, Great Britain have had to defend, whereas most of the attacks have come on the left-hand side. Indeed, the try we saw from Cousins, but it's the number 4, Chamaran, who's getting close to the line. The Frenchman going to move it across. The loose forward, Barnet, just held up short of the Great Britain try line. Immediately 4 white shirts on top of him, but it's not enough because the Frenchmen have scored the second try of the game. The number 9, Soulan, was in there, not quite sure who's going to claim that try, but the Great Britain defence was slightly lax, would you say?
Very, very weak defence. I think Phil Lardner's going to have some very stern words with some of the guys at half-time. As we said, we're getting cut up out wide a little bit when the French do move the ball, but the main reason for the slackness in defence is the speed of the play the balls. The French play the balls are very, very fast, whereas the Great Britain play the balls are not quite so quick, and it's given the French a chance to reform a defence, whereas Great Britain are using the scrambled defence because of, as we said, the speed of the French play the balls. Just put them under the pressure all the time.
I think one thing there, as you were saying, was possibly slow thinking from the players, because there were enough of them there to stop them.
Yeah, they should have got down on their hands and knees. It's very easy for us to say it from up here, but being a little bit critical of the lads, they should have got down a little bit lower, because in international football, I'm sure the coaches at international level will be disappointed to let a try and straight in from dummy half like that.
And Great Britain not having it all their own way. Maybe they thought after that victory over in Perpignan, 28 points to 7, that the Frenchmen may crumble tonight, coming to such a place as Central Park, but they've shown plenty of spirit. We're yet to see the best out of the Great Britain Academy. Ooh la la, I think was the shout from behind XIII there.
Great Britain have got to turn it up a notch, pick up the intensity, because surely there must be a fitter side than the French, from the French team, because a lot of the Great Britain players are professional, some of them even full-time professionals. They've got to turn up the intensity notch. 1 or 2.
It's slightly quiet out there as well. I mean, somebody's got to take charge of the situation and gee on the rest of the players and show a bit of experience.
That's right. The Great Britain side started off talking very well in defence, but they seem to have dropped off a little bit. As we see, the French getting the ball away in the tackle.
The Frenchmen getting on top at the moment. They have a man over on the right-hand side of the field as Great Britain defend. But Powell getting in a very good tackle on the halfway line, stopping his man dead. He's going to have to be in there again, and a good tackle around the ankles from Powell.
We are being a little bit critical of the Great Britain side, and I think the respect should be given to French side where they are playing, because I think everyone came here tonight expecting Great Britain to win by 30 or even 40 points, but the way the French are playing, there's certainly no mugs.
Certainly a character-building experience for some of the players who are out there, but we have seen 2 outstanding tries, and we have seen the potential whenever Great Britain have got the ball and have started a move. We have some big, powerful players in the pack, and we have some very fast players at the back who can sieve through this French defence if we can just get the moves going.
Yeah, that's a harsh penalty there from the referee, feed-in penalty. Very, very seldom seen in the British game, in the Stones British Championship. You can usually get away with things like that, and it's a very, very harsh penalty. Great Britain have got to dig the heels in deep here, got to roll the sleeves up, and they've got to hold this French team out, because if French do hit the lead, as all people know, when the Frenchmen do get on top, they're certainly very, very difficult to stop.
Well, the tackling much better there for Vol, trying to go alone, but immediately 2 players came and met him, and the tackling, well, I was going to say was good by Great Britain. The Frenchman, maybe his momentum took him on a yard or 2 there. They're in a very dangerous position, just a few yards away, but very well read. It's going to be a knock-on, but very well read there by Andy Farrell.
I think Andy Farrell's probably glad he dropped that ball, seeing 90 yards up there in front of him. No, but seriously, it was very well read, because Great Britain was shot to pieces over here on the left-hand side, and the French certainly had the numbers on them.
Andy Farrell has taken the eyes so far in this game, but the Frenchmen are still piling on this pressure on this far side of the field, and it's going to be possibly another try, but no, they've managed to stop him just a couple of yards away. He's landed on his back, I think, but better tackling from Great Britain there. 4 or 5 players immediately bet the number 2 Ricard.
Yeah, it's a good job they did too, because they were certainly over the line. As once again we see Jason Robin at the bottom of the pile. Seems to be having a bit of a hard night's work tonight, does Jason, but Great Britain have got to pick up the game.
Well, Well, Gareth Stevens, the other half-back, at the thick of the action as well. And here's that man Farrell. Maybe he's going to do the 90-yard run that Sean Edwards was chastising him about a moment or two ago. But he's possibly the player that's taking a grip of the situation. And Great Britain have a chance now to get back on top in the game. Moved across to Hilton. Inside their own 25. Hilton gets up and Great Britain running the ball well out of the back. McCurry taking charge.
French markers are working very well on defence. As you see, number 13 there pressurising the kicker. And certainly a very good French side.
A good kick, the Frenchman underneath it, Freycinou. And he's met by big Barry John. Barry John Mather just getting his arms around him. That was enough to stop any man, I think, in his tracks. Ricard over the halfway line. Hilton and Busby waiting for him. And the little number 7 who loves this ball, Abadi, who's probably touched it more times than anybody else so far in the game, to the big number 10, Boucher. His handling was slightly suspect then, under a very strong tackle from Dean Busby. Scrum down 15, 20 yards inside the Great Britain half. It comes out. On it immediately is Gareth Stevens, reading it very well. This is Busby bringing the ball forward. Makes a bit of yardage. Back to Chamberlain. Chamberlain moving the ball well. And Great Britain now just making the yards. I'm sure in a moment or two we're going to see a rehearsed move. Hilton again bringing it forward, 4 or 5 yards every time.
As we see, Great Britain forwards going in the ones all the time. I think we'll see Gareth Stevens cutting back here as we do to it Barry John Mather.
Barry John Mather looking for some support, but he's tackled well, and I think the two men, the 4 and 5 for Great Britain, Stevens and Cousins, had just anticipated a little bit too early. A good charge down from Soulon, but it falls for Christian Tyra.
Great Britain support players got to pick up. Really, the only main man who is following anything about is Jason Robinson. Going far too much in ones, and there should be more interpassing amongst the forwards.
Trying to do his little bit. Is the number 4 Stevens bringing the ball forward. His shirt sleeve being pulled off, and then the right arm had the ball tucked firmly underneath his armpit, and I think the other arm had been stretched to about 3 times its normal length.
Yeah, Great Britain run 3 times from dummy half and then just treat one straight up, one off the ruck. I don't think that kind of play is going to break up this French defence, because these guys can tackle.
Stevens on the halfway line. Great Britain moving the ball well now. Deciding to go alone is Tyra, but it didn't quite bounce for him. A brave move though. He tried that not so long ago. But it's again giving possession to the visitors to Central Park. Ricard is brought down by Barry John Mather and Chamberlain. Not seen too much of the 12, Tixto, but he's whenever he gets forward, he makes a bit of distance.
This little number 7 of France is a tremendous footballer, looking for the gaps, spraying the ball about, and setting up his runners up with some beautiful passes.
Yeah, the halfback Benati as well, getting in a good pass there, and again it goes out to the left-hand side of the field. Jom's bringing it in, and Barrett and Powell have had to be solid defensively. They've had more to do tackle-wise than most people on the Great Britain team so far. Half-back again, Benati moving it out well, and here's the man with the pace and the little sidestep. Ricard decides to come inside instead of outside, and he's met by a few English players who didn't want to see him destroy them again. The ball handed over to Great Britain.
The Great Britain partner plays a little bit too stereotyped. I think they should link with the backs a little bit more, trying to double the centres up. Both centres are playing left and right on defence and attack. And they need to double up more and hit them on a good deep backline shot, because the French are reading the Great Britain play of keeping it tight around the ruck and annihilating the runners when they come forward with the ball.
So there we have the half-time whistle. And the half-time score here at Central Park is the Great Britain Academy 8, the French Academy 8. Phil Larder, what would you imagine he's going to be saying to his players, Sean?
Well, I think he's going to certainly talk about the support play. we've got to give respect to the French and the way that they're trying to offload in the tackle, particularly with the distribution of the scrum half coming into play so often, and his organisation. But as I said, far too much round the ruck stuff from the Great Britain side. I can understand them doing that type of play in the first 10-15 minutes, trying to consolidate play and get the game going forward. But certainly not enough variation out wide at second and third receiver position.
On a positive note, the two tries have been very good tries. Robinson and Cousins, two pacey players.
Well, Great Britain was on a roll at that stage of the game. Jason pulled them out, tried to nothing, out of the bag from a set scrum situation, 40 yards from the line, like probably only he can. And then some good play later on, a break initiated by Gareth Stevens on the right-hand side, and Great Britain spun it wide, as we're trying to say, on a deep back line shot, and they worked the overlap with Phil Cousins, took his chance very well. But I must say that the most clean breaks, the most busts through the defensive line has come from the French team, and I think with better finishing from the French side, they could be 4 to 8 points up at the moment.
So the half-time score at Central Park between the Great Britain Academy and the French juniors, 8-all. So very much a learning experience for these Great Britain players. I'm sure Phil Larder will have given his experience, the benefit of his experience, to the players during the half-time break, and they'll come out slightly the wiser in the second half. One substitution made by Great Britain, and onto the field has come Mick Cassidy, hard-working youngster from Wigan, normally a second-row player, I believe. Sean Edwards will put me right in a moment or two, but he gets straight into the thick of the action, and Great Britain makes some early yardage through Dean Busby of Hull FC. The ball comes out quickly, and Great Britain very eager to get moving forward early on. McCurry just close to the halfway line.
Looks like Cassidy's taking the place of his Wigan teammate Farrell. I don't know if he's got an injury or anything like that or not, or whether it's a tactical move from Phil Larder, but Cassidy's certainly a very hard-working player.
So Great Britain moving the ball along the line, and here's one of the try scorers in the first half, Jason Robinson, also a Wigan player. Ball coming out through Chamberlain, and Great Britain kick the ball early, aiming for a touch, but it bounces a couple of yards outside instead of inside.
Great Britain is certainly going to miss Farrell's kicking game, as we see our fullback Christian Tyra kicking the ball out in the full, a bit of a criminal error really, particularly coming out your own half. But as we said, Farrell, whether he's off injured or it's a tactical move, I'm not quite sure, but Great Britain will definitely miss his tactical kicking.
Made some good kicks in the first half. He made some good distance as well, though he wasn't as accurate as maybe he'd like to have been with his left boot from the left-hand side of the field, failing to convert the two tries. But in general, playing free play, he was doing extremely well. But I'm sure Mick Cassidy will prove an able replacement, and he's going to have to get involved there. In fact, he was missed out as the Frenchman went by him, but Cassidy's in the thick of the action at the moment, gets in a tackle. The French still have the ball, though. Nobody can quite get a hold of anybody at the moment, but the little six Bernat is going to be brought to task. He'll play it short to Chamaron. The French deciding to go to the left, and their handling is very good. They're moving the ball around very fast, as Sean Edwards was saying in the first half.
This little number 7 of France is a very good player. I'm watching him out in the back play. He's organised his players. He's always on his forwards' backs, telling them what to do, where to run, and then when the backs want the ball, he spin passes out there. Well, as we said, 15 or 20 yards, direct to his standoff, giving him heaps of time to do whatever he wants to do out wide.
The ball goes into the scrum, comes out very quickly indeed. And the Great Britain man very quick to get on the end of it. Little scrum half. Gareth Stevens, the thick of everything, a brave player, as Sean was saying. And time for Great Britain to make some distance.
Tremendous hit there from the number 10 of France. Virtually knocked Mark Hilton back 2 or 3 yards.
We could hear the call from Mark Hilton here. He was determined he was going to go on a run, but he ran into the French equivalent of a brick outhouse.
And Mark Hilton's one tough cookie as well. Sure you can take him, he'll come back for more.
And there's a chance for the substitute, the clean white jersey, to make some distance. Mick Cassidy on his home ground, doing very well to his teammate Gareth Stevens of Leeds. Back to Cassidy, a good kick into the floodlights. This could be a little bit difficult for the Frenchman, but Fressineau judges it very well, clutches it to his chest, and those long tanned French legs, he must come from the south of France, making a bit of distance to Ricard. Ricard Picks up the ball, and the French just aiming to take it forward a little bit at a time. They were doing this in the first half, and they're giving it away on the fourth or fifth tackle, not making full advantage of it. There's the big fella again, Boucher. 2-7. Abadi, who had an outstanding first half, but showing an early slip.
Great play there from Mick Cassidy. Good pressure in defence. And the Great Britain have got him shot to pieces out wide here.
Referee bringing play back there. I think McCurry misheard the first whistle. Not quite sure what the referee saw. I don't think McCurry was either, but he's going to be a true professional and keep his tongue tied. But at least he was showing a bit of pace and a bit of initiative going down the centre of the field.
I think that was a bad decision from the referee. He thought that Great Britain actually stripped the ball from the French player, but it was obvious that the French player lost the ball on the tackle, and Mick Cassidy dropped on it and gave a quick play the ball to Great Britain. I think it was a mistake by the French, but luckily Great Britain have got the ball back here from a bad kick from the Frenchman.
Powell doing very well, handling it very well, and then knocking the Frenchman aside. Good aggression to Chamberlain. Chamberlain inside to Busby, moving across the line well. This is Stevens. And Stevens is giving away a bit in weight and height there. Nothing in aggression now. And the French tackling excellent at the moment. Great Britain trying to move the ball out of defence. Nice little twist and turn from Richard Chamberlain. I think he caught a couple of players out there. To Tyra across the line. Stevens to the far side. The French doing very well. Great Britain moving the ball around much better in the early stages of this second half. 8-all the score.
The Great Britain play the balls speeded up a little bit, and it's given the chances for the half-backs to do a little bit more with the ball.
Great Britain looking a bit sharper, but a very good kick there. I think it just bounced just in play. The linesman took a second or two to, the touch judge took a second or two to decide whether it was bouncing in or bouncing out. But yeah. Great Britain in a very dangerous position. Yeah,
I reckon the Great Britain pack should pull themselves together here and try to muscle up in this scrum and go for a big six-man push, see if they can get a tight head off the French and get 6 tackles down on the own line. As you see, Great Britain went for it, but unfortunately the French have lost the ball and Great Britain have pounced on it.
Stevens quick to jump on that, and Cassidy has been very involved since he came on as a substitute. Here is Dean Busby, arms flailing, legs kicking out. Across the line again, it's Stevens. Stevens to McCurry. McCurry looking for support. He's got that from Barrett, who'll be a little bit disappointed with himself then, but Great Britain moving the ball very quickly, very sharpishly, hardly in the hands for a second with any of the players.
The French referee is so lenient on the offside out wide. The French centres and wingers are cutting all the movements out of the Great Britain, ball moving out wide, because there's about 2 or 3 yards stood in front of the referee and he's just not even bothering looking.
Different laws in different countries, so it seems. But Great Britain are going to have to overcome then. Very good challenge from Hilton. Cassidy close in there again, but Hilton getting his arms around the Frenchman, and again it's the number 10 Boucher. He seems at least 2 or 3 stone heavier than anybody else on the field. Looks a few years older as well.
Great set of 6 there from the British boys. They've got the ball back now on the halfway line. They've got to do something constructive, organise a set play and control it for 6. And here's Phil Cousins busts the line. He's going for the corner flag and Luke out wide.
He's found Barrett. Barrett plays it short to Powell. Powell just runs out of field though. But Great Britain moving the ball extremely well then. The ball moving from one pair of hands to the other. And immediately Gareth Stevens on top of the Frenchman. Hit him, shouts Christian Tyra from the back.
Great Britain forwards are muscling up here. You can see him standing shoulder to shoulder. You've just got to watch they don't get caught by the French moving the ball out wide, but tremendous pressure being put on from the Great Britain defence here. This is what Phil Laird will be looking for.
Well, tactically, I think Great Britain have got it right in the second half. Every man is doing his job. The tackling's been good. Positioning has been good. Dean Busby jumping the gun there, but the Frenchman getting the ball away from him. Barry John Mather, ball and man slipping out of his grasp there. Haven't seen too much of the big men so far.
No, Barry seemed to be a little bit lost in where he should be running with the ball in attack. His defence has been very strong and his work rate's been high. But usually we see Barry John, we're used to seeing him striding 30 and 40 yards at least 2 or 3 times in a game with his sensational breaks he normally makes for the Wigan reserve team.
Haven't seen too much of him tonight, but still plenty of time to go. We're only 8 minutes into the second half. Great Britain 8, France 8. And Mark Hilton, who's taken as much punishment and ball as anybody so far this evening, in the thick of every move it seems at the moment. Here's Cassidy, the substitute, plays it short. A good little dummy there from Gareth Stevens that just couldn't quite hold on to it. Powell, again, his run was good, the timing of the pass was good, but I think it came slightly early for his liking, and in basketball fashion he was almost bouncing it as he was running forward.
It's the second time Gareth has cut him open out wide with a dummy. As we said, the French defence out wide are moving up so quickly. When Gareth does dummy and it cuts inside of him, he's catching him on the wrong foot, and he's looking very impressive in that situation.
I say the Central Park pitch is looking in extremely good condition for late February. It's almost an early spring evening. No wind, which may help the goal kickers, should we need them in the latter stages of this game. 8-all the score. French moving the ball very well. As I say that, Abane manages to drop it to a loud cheer from a gentleman underneath me. And we will have the scrum.
Look for Christian Tyler trying to link up from full-back on this set scrum position.
The ball just catching McCurry out there. He was looking for it. It was almost like a spot-the-ball competition. When he finally spotted it, it was in the hands of a teammate. And Great Britain bringing the ball forward again, but again, Boucher is in with the tackle. And the referee awarding another scrum. He certainly hasn't been a homer, is he?
No, the offside tactic of the French team was very, very obvious. Even the Great Britain side are sneaking up offside as well, but couldn't really see a knock-on in that situation at all.
Forval moving forward. Abadi getting the ball across to Bisson. Bisson is brought down again. Mark Hilton in there. Abadi's had a much quieter second half. The star man for the French juniors in Perpignan, and the outstanding play for France in the first half. And this will be a penalty. Will the Frenchmen go for goal?
Oh, they'll be having a shot for goal from here for sure.
They have to.
Dean Busby's got penalised for dropping in the elbow. He's very upset at the penalty. You can see him in the back play talking to his teammates, trying to explain that I didn't do anything. But no, the man in black, he's the boss, and you can't really argue with him. And it gives chance for France to shoot into a 10-8 lead here.
The goal kicking has been a little bit off target. Farrell for Great Britain. Missed 3 in the first half. This is a central position, and providing Abadi can get the power, he shouldn't need a great deal of direction, so he could get directly down the centre of the field. But he's taking his time over it, doesn't want to make too many mistakes. A chance for the French to go ahead, and this would be, I must say, a surprise scoreline at this stage in the game.
It certainly would. As we said before the game, he was looking for a big performance from the Great Britain side, but I don't think we really understand the intensity and the professionalism and level of play that the French have come out with.
So Abadi kicks right-footed, he gets the height, he gets the distance, he gets the accuracy, and the French are ahead. We're 12 minutes in. Great Britain 8, France 10. And now we're going to have to see some experience. We're going to have to see some players out there as well playing with a great deal of heart. Great Britain have probably played the better in the second half, but they're behind, Sean.
Yeah, Great Britain have busted the line on 2 or 3 occasions so far in this half, but unfortunately the support play has not been there. The finishing has not been crisp and clean. So hopefully we can have a repeat of what happened in the first half, where once they did go behind Great Britain, it sort of shaking them into action, and we can see some individual play and some good constructive team play from the Great Britain side and get some chalks on the board.
And Christian Tyra kicks off and scythes through the French defence. Bit of scrum down deep inside the French half. Everybody seems to crumble and fall and collapse.
Another tight head to the Great Britain side there. This is a chance, as we said before, we've got to take the chances once we get down in the opposition's 25.
Cousins comes up with the ball, and Great Britain reform. Good little dummy from Jason Robinson. He's looking for support. He doesn't get it immediately. Goes down under pressure.
Let's look for some back rows running off wide off Gareth Stevens.
There's some eager people waiting over here for the ball, but the French not allowing Gareth Stevens to get it out there. Again, the ball is moved across the line. We have a man over on the far side. If Powell can get it to him, instead he has to come inside to Paul Stevens. Paul Stevens determined not to be brought down.
Got to spin this ball on the last tackle here. Use the last tackle option, Gareth. Move it out wide. Oh, wrong way.
Well, Tyra kicks, it comes off the shins of a Frenchman and into the hands of Boucher. And I think one or two of the players down there not listening to their coach up here.
Very, very easy to see everything up here. Some of the guys down there probably can hardly get their breath, and then on the defence looks like they're about 2 inches off them. As sometimes they're, because they're that far offside on certain occasions.
Possibly gives them a licence to say that to you on a Sunday afternoon, does it?
That's true, sir. I think they do, actually. I certainly wish I had this view when I was playing.
It's quite easy from up here, actually, isn't it? Frenchman moving the ball inside, but we have Powell down a great deal of pain. I think he's taken a blow to the backside. I don't think we'll be seeing that injury, I don't think, on the camera. At least I hope not. Meanwhile, the French are attacking on the far side. It's Ricard, who's met by a good tackle by, I think it was Jason Robinson who dug in there.
Doubled those tackles up there from Marker as well. And him and Mick Cassidy are working very hard in defence.
A big kick. It's going to come down out of the night air, possibly with snow on that one. Bounces just out, and that will take it back into the French half. Not a good kick from Boucher. Mick Cassidy demanding the ball. And it's Dean Busby who goes forward. Takes a couple of players down, heading his head up and down like a canary. Then the head goes down of Mark Hilton, but again he's met by a good tackle by Barney and company.
The referee's not even looking out wide for the centre sneaking up.
High tackle definitely coming in on Gareth Stevens. He'll be feeling that one. His ear will be ringing now. And the referee is going to have a word with the halfback for the Frenchman, Pascal Bonatti. He gets the yellow card. His head goes down in shame. And off the field he comes, but it was a definite high tackle. And I think his opposite numbers ear will be ringing there.
Certainly, well, I don't think he did too much damage to Gareth's head, but certainly there was a lot of intent there. Strange decision here from Steve McCurry. He's going to have a shot for goal. Maybe I think I would have put it in the corner and trying to go for the 4 points. Great Britain will certainly need a strong chase here, just in case Christian Tyler doesn't make the distance and get it dead.
Well, 16 minutes gone, and the Frenchmen have a 2-point lead. So Christian Tyra, who scored 2 goals and 2 tries in Perpignan, playing as a last-minute full-back tonight. He should have been one of the substitutes. But has he got his kicking boots on, I wonder? A right-footed kicker, unlike Andy Farrell in the first half. And again, this is central, but it's quite a distance. No wind here, though. He'll take his time. A little jog, a kick right-footed. And really, you don't get much better than that. It's all level with 17 minutes gone, 10-all.
Good on you, Steve. Good decision, mate. That's all he should have got for goal.
So, all level. Christian Tyra. 1 attempt. 1 out of 1. 10-all the score. So, can Great Britain build on that? The French kick, he doesn't get a great deal of height, straight into the hands of Cassidy, who comes forward. A good run, the head and the shoulder forward. Picked up by Barry John Mather. Across the line. A very bad pass, the interception, and Joms really won't get too many gifts like that before Christmas Day. And Great Britain going a level 1 moment, and within seconds they're behind again. A moment I think he'll want to forget that.
Yeah, Gareth took the odds on spinning a pass. Great Britain, if the centre hadn't missed the ball, they would have gone certainly down at least 50 yards down the field on the left-hand side. But well read, good defensive play by this number 3 for France. He shot up quickly in the defensive line, helped by the referee's stingy 5 metres, I may add, and picked up Gareth Stevens' pass out wide, and shot in for a tremendous try, really. The French cock a hoop now. Great Britain have got to smash the hell out of them on this next set of 6, otherwise if the French get a roll on, the confidence is going to be up high and Great Britain's going to be in trouble. So
the Frenchmen showing lots of confidence, and they'll be eager to hang on to this lead and possibly even extend it as well. 14-10. Great Britain second half performance has been better than the first half performance, and like I said, we can see some mistakes in the French defence as well. Ball moved out by Abadi, and hanging on in there, the referee spotting that, and really I don't think he was ever going to hoodwink the referee there. Gareth Stevens hanging on to the Frenchman.
Number 8 from France, Bisson, he's very, very powerful, built low to the ground, and as you see with that power race run he just put in there, it must be very difficult to handle for the Great Britain defence.
The Frenchman just inside the Great Britain half, and here he goes again, putting his chest and shoulder pads into waiting Barry John Mather. And missing out the man. A good move this from the French. You get the feeling it's rehearsed, and here's the 5. Oh dear me, Forval just couldn't quite get to the ball in time. He got his fingertips to it, but if it had gone into his chest, he possibly had a clear run. It was a tight angle down the left touchline, but he would have had a clear run to the try.
Steve McCurry complaining to the referee about the crossing movement, which was quite obvious to everyone in the crowd, except the referee, and just a disgraceful decision to keep giving scrum feeding penalties against the Great Britain side. That's the second he's given against us. It's just ridiculous.
Well, the referee possibly making it more difficult for the Great Britain academy to come from behind, and the French are going to use every pass and every tackle they can, as we lose another body in the commentary box. It's Forval who goes forward into the 25. Doesn't make too much distance. A good challenge there from the reception committee. Not good handling from the 10, Boucher, who was met. Britain come out of defence with Powell. Plenty of slapping and fighting there, and we have a rather nasty moment. The referee's going to have to separate the players here. Very angry is Dyer Powell.
It's up to the Great Britain boys to settle down straight into the football now. There has been a bit of a skirmish which could upset the French. It could be a good move by Great Britain to trying to get the French off playing football and get them more interested in fighting, while the Great Britain side trying to get some points back on the board and get back into this game.
We've seen plenty of the fighting French in the rugby union sense. They haven't been too aggressive in the rugby league sense tonight, but they're going to show that. Great Britain now moving the ball well. It's Anthony Barrett.
The French have actually been very, very disciplined tonight from what we're used to seeing from the French team. As you said, the rugby union thugs, as we prefer to call them, set a better example for rugby.
You have got a good lawyer, haven't you?
Yeah.
I don't think Christian Tare is going to have a go with this one. He's very confident. He's going to kick for the far side of the field. The French are reforming. Kicks it right-footed. And that will take Great Britain 5 yards into the French half. Richard Chamberlain, outstanding in the Hull trial back in November. Beat Warrington's Colin Hodgkin to the place. The ball moved across the line.
Once again, no support there for Barry John Mather. The guy's 6'7", he can get his hands free. There should be backs picking up off him.
Ball moved across. Here's Cassidy. Cassidy plays it short to Stevens. Stevens back to Steve McCurry. McCurry picks it up, moves it quickly, does well to bring the ball out of the tackle. Great Britain players finally brought down. McCurry whizzing it out. The ball moving very fast. This is Paul Stevens. Paul Stevens trying to go alone. Gets his head and body down and makes a bit of distance.
Great Britain could try a blindside shot here, but no, they've moved it out to Christian. Tari puts a pretty speculative bomb up, and the French probably take this quite cleanly, as they really clean it up well.
Thought he was going to head that then. The French coming out through Abadi, the little man, doing very well. He's I think he did drop the ball then. The referee took a moment to think about it, but he definitely let go of it.
It's been very, very frustrating for the Great Britain lads to have such a substandard referee in charge of them. The thing to do though is forget all about the referee, forget about the conditions, forget about the crowd, just concentrating and getting back into the game and trying to get some points on the board.
It's not making it easy, certainly, for the Great British players. We only have 15 minutes to go in the game. 14 points to 10 to the French. Of course, they're looking to avenge the victory for Great Britain in Perpignan by 28 points to 7. And they're not doing a bad job so far. Great Britain having to play a more defensive game, and we haven't seen too many set pieces or runs from the backs, just the 2 tries in the first half. And there's Cassidy. Cassidy urged on by the crowd. And a bit of a misunderstanding, should we say, there between Gareth Stevens and Boucher in the centre of the field. Stevens is going to let him forget it there. I don't think he's going to argue with the big French number 10 who's involved there in bringing down Mark Hilton. And close to the 25. What are we going to see here, Sean?
I think we'll see a cut back to the blind from one of the halfbacks, as we say here. Jason's going to have a duck and dive on his own in his usual funky style, but we're looking for Gareth Stevens out wide to hit some runners out wide.
Jason Robinson twisting and turning, and as soon as Chamberlain picks it up, he's tackled. He gets it out though, and a far pass. Oh, he must be in. He's cut inside where maybe he should have gone outside. A great pass there from Gareth Stevens to the far side of the field, but another chance for Great Britain.
Good scrambling defence there from the French. Got to give them the respect that they deserve. As you said, a tremendous cut-out pass there from Gareth Stevens to Phil Cousins. Phil took the option of cutting back inside, and the tremendous sliding across defence from the French wingman.
Phil Cousins taking the ball from Gareth Stevens. The French have it now. They're coming out of defence, but good tackles there. Captain Steve McCurry leading his players well. Great Britain not allowing the French to get too far out of their own 25. Good tackle coming in from Powell, with able assistance from Mick Cassidy, the substitute.
Got to put some pressure on the kicker here, trying to force a charge down, or at least make the kicker put him off, and with a substandard kick.
Well, he gets the ball out. He doesn't have a bad kick. It's well met by Anthony Barrett, who's going to have a run. He charges off 2 players. He does very well. Gets past the first tackle from Favol, but he's met by 3 players, including Bonatti, who was there first. And Powell involved again. He's hoping, I think, then to get the ball out of there, but he's brought down in the tackle, and Robinson tries to go alone. Brave little player. Does very well. Almost leaps up off the ground there to go by those 2. Chamberlain inside to Stevens. Stevens, another long pass inside. A bit of a dummy from Steve McCurry. He's looking for support. He's keeping his head up well. He gets the ball out to Barry John Mather. Can we see something from him? We haven't really had a chance for him to get those long legs going. Might have now, though. He's doing extremely well. Must be the most difficult player on the park to tackle.
Using all his 6'7" there to full effect. Probably lacking a little bit of support running off him. We've got to have people trailing up on Barry John.
Gareth Stevens jumping on top of the ball. Plays it to McCurry. Here comes the bomb of the up and under. The Frenchman dithering and dathering. He does well to hold it somewhere around the back of his neck and his shoulder. And the Frenchman really giving nothing to Great Britain. So a double substitution for Great Britain. Alex Thompson and Nigel Wright. Alex Thompson from Sheffield, and Nigel Wright, the 14 who plays for Wakefield, coming on to add a fresh pair of legs, or a couple of fresh pair of legs for Great Britain. We have 11 minutes to go in the game. The French leading by 14 points to 10. Bringing the ball out, and an early tackle for Alex Thompson. He'll be happy to get that one in, stopping his man straight away. The white shirt, the clean white shirt, and the clean white legs, which aren't going to be clean for too long. Go in there with a tackle again, very eager to get in. Is he going to make it a hat-trick of tackles? He does, with a bit of help from Barry John Mather and Mick Cassidy, the half-time substitute. Abadi kicks well, a very good kick indeed. He gets a lot of distance. The ball just bouncing. Will it stay in play? Christian Tyra gets across there, waits for it to bounce towards him, and Great Britain maybe slightly lucky there.
Yeah, good chase on the French number 2. Christian linked up well with our left wing, Phil Cousins there. And Great Britain have got to take a few chances now because the clock's ticking away. Gareth Stevens goes through the gap, but there's no support once again.
Paul Stevens does very well to get the ball inside, and his namesake, the number 7, Gareth Stevens from Leeds, does it extremely well to make some distance there, and Great Britain putting together a good move across the line. They've got to keep it going. We're waiting outside for Barrett to get it. Barrett's waiting for the ball. Maybe he was a little too close to the touchline for Powell to get it to him. But needless to say, good tackle from the French. Barrett now having a go. Twist to his right, twist to his left. His tackle, though. Mather deciding to go alone. Oh, here is the big man. He's going to take some stopping. He's in full flight, but a very, very good tackle by the French substitute indeed. It was really textbook stuff then, but Barry John Mather on the 6th tackle, deciding to go it alone, and hopefully in these last 9 minutes of the game we might see him do that and score a try, Sean.
It would be nice to see that. Exploding onto the scene there did Barry John, running from dummy half, because the French are so far offside out wide, it's very difficult for Great Britain to get it out there. And Barry John threw the option of going down the right-hand side on the short side, and with a little bit better inside support, I think it would have been 4 points for Great Britain.
So Great Britain have to put on the pressure. You can probably hear underneath as Christian Tyro giving his players plenty of encouragement. And a good tackle from the big 17, Alex Thompson. Boucher involved again.
Virtually all the second half's been played in the French territory, but Great Britain have failed to be creative enough to make try scoring chances, and they're still trialless this second half, even though the field position that they've had have been outstanding.
French moving it well again on the far side of the field, but I think Phil Cousins is going to land on that one first. Does so. The linesman and the referee, the touch judge coming off his line, and going to have a word with the referee who gives a scrum, and that's going to be in the favour of Great Britain, I do believe. Linesman underneath us on this near side of the field is trying to keep an eye on the offside. He's not done too good a job so far. The ball comes out to Great Britain. We have a man spare if it can come out to Anthony Barrett on this side of the field. A good run though from Powell. He's doing well to keep in play. Gets it to Barrett. Barrett tussling with 3 or 4 Frenchmen. A good move from Great Britain. Barrett to Tyra. Tyra to Cassidy. Advantage to Britain. Cassidy going forward.
Tremendous cover from the French side there. Great Britain trying to get the ball out wide, but bad hands enabled them to do that.
Stevens to McCurry, and bad hands again from the substitute Nigel Wright. He couldn't quite hang on to it, but the ball did bounce backwards. And Great Britain have possession, just inside the French half. Dean Busby to McCurry, but again the Frenchmen are tackling very, very well.
I think maybe a short chip over the top could be productive for Great Britain here.
There's certainly space on this right-hand side of the field as Great Britain attack. That came off a Frenchman, and oh dear me. Definitely a chance there, and gaps are starting to appear in the French defence.
French are tiring a little bit, and Great Britain have got to take advantage in this last 5 minutes, otherwise the game's going to be history for them.
This could be where the everyday fitness of the Great Britain players, many of whom are professional, and if they don't train every day of the week, at least train 3 or 4 times a week. I wouldn't imagine the French players get to train too often at a high level. And the fitness of Christian Tyre is showing. He's passed to Barrett. Barrett cuts inside. And again, good pacey play from the backs of Great Britain. Barrett to Chamberlain. Chamberlain deciding to go alone, but a moment's hesitation letting him down, I think.
Sloppy play the ball there from the number 2, Barrett. But Great Britain have got a chance out wide now with the French sliding across in defence.
Well, there were 2 men waiting out wide, but the centre was pulled down. Again, the Frenchmen are tackling early, but you have the feeling he could possibly have got it out a fraction of a second earlier. And we have a rare decision in favour of the white shirts. I think Steve McCurry was questioning that because he couldn't believe it.
Great Britain should hit back to the blind here. French have got 2 tired players out on the blind side.
So Tyra trying to go alone. There are options on both sides. It's Chamberlain, the Hull Kingston Rovers hooker, Richard Chamberlain. And again, he's powering. There's no way through the final line of the French defence, though. We have players lining up to have a go. McCurry moves the ball across to Stevens. Stevens inside now. The substitute's got 2 outside. One of those is Cassidy. Cassidy to the Great Britain #2. And there's the try we've been waiting for. Anthony Barrett. He hasn't had too many opportunities in the game, but he got one there. And good play by the Great Britain line. And that draws them level 14-all.
Yeah, Mick Cassidy gave the last pass for that try. Dean Busby was instrumental in working the overlap. Barrett took his chance very well. We've got a shot for goal now. It's 14 apiece at the moment. He's got a shot for goal to go 16-14 in the lead, and we're heading for a grandstand finish.
Well, it certainly will be. We only have 4 minutes left, and this could be a classic finish. Certainly a different proposition to the game over in Perpignan. And Anthony Barrett, the 3rd try scorer for Great Britain so far in this game.
But as I said, it's a grandstand finish now. The French are going to be all out for victory, and so will Great Britain.
As Christian Tyra runs back there, his socks around his ankles. He does look very tired. He's been involved in some try-saving tackles in the game, has been very, very involved, and I'm sure it was a case of tired legs there, as well as a tired mind. 14 points all, less than 3 minutes to go in the game. And here's Cassidy, who was involved in that 3rd try for Great Britain, providing the pass for Barrett to go over. Chamberlain across the line to Stevens. Stevens moving it well, but again, Great Britain just failing to hold on to it. Paul Stevens of Wigan just knocking the ball forward. And the French 3 Joms, one of the try scorers, to the substitute.
Great Britain have got to be very, very careful that they don't give a penalty away, because I'm only too sure that the referee would love to give a penalty to France for the slightest chance.
Well, it would be sad if they did win the game that way. The 10, Sébastien Boucher. The man of the match has just been awarded to the #7. I think it was to the French #7. We'll confirm that in a moment. A knock on, and Great Britain have possession. We're into the last 2 minutes of the game. The linesman's on the field, skipping on. The touch judge seeing a punch coming in. Great Britain have the ball. A chance to get forward. A good kick, and that should be just inside their own half, I think.
Great Britain led off the hook there by some undisciplined play from France. First they lost the ball, then they give a silly punch in the tackle. And this fella's been outstanding since they come on. Mick Cassidy. He's worked non-stop for 40 minutes. He's been out there on the field. Great Britain probably trying to work it for a field goal if they can get down in deep into the French territory.
Well, we're into the closing stages. It was Frédéric Abadi who is the man of the match, outstanding in Perpignan, and the top Frenchman tonight. Chamberlain, ball inside to Gareth Stevens of Leeds, who's also had a very good game in the half-backs. Across to Barry John Mather, who's been kept quiet but has had 1 very good run. This is a 2nd good run. What can Great Britain produce here? The ball's going to have to go forward. A drop goal attempt, but again slightly wide, and it remains 14-all. We are in to the last minute, and it looks as though it is going to be a well-deserved draw for the French, a rather disappointing draw for Great Britain. But could there be a last-minute climax, I wonder? The French coming forward again. Cassidy is involved. He's only played 40 minutes of this game, but possibly on the Great Britain side could be in line for one of their Men of the Match awards. The French dropping the ball there. 5-4 getting on the end of it.
Could be the last chance here for Great Britain. It's set of 6. Vital, who can be the hero and win the game for the Great Britain side.
Put in by Stevens, it comes out well. We have a few players waiting over. One of those is Powell. Powell moving it across the line. Tyra involved to Stevens. Stevens is stopped. This, I think, is definitely going to be the last chance of the game. In fact, right on cue, the referee blows his whistle, and here at Central Park, the final score: Great Britain 14, France 14. Your last thoughts, Sean?
think France will be very happy with the draw, even though Great Britain did catch them up in the last 5 minutes. Great Britain obviously going to be very, very disappointed with the performance. Kept it far too tight in the first half. They opened things up much more in the second half and got some great field position, but just unable to do the thing which is the hardest thing in rugby league to do, and that's score tries.
A number of your players out there, who took the eye for you and who possibly didn't play up to their reputation?
Well, I don't like to criticise any lads because the strength of the French team must come into consideration. I think the French lads are a little bit older than the English guys, I'm not quite sure. But I thought Mick Cassidy certainly impressed when he came on in the second half. So
the French players waiting for the Great Britain players to come off, applauding them off. A good scene of sportsmanship here at Central Park. It has been a very, very good game, and I think it would be fair to say at 14 points all, it has been a fair result.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Even though Great Britain dominated the second half, we do see great sportsmanship as we get in rugby league a lot. We're not having any of that fighting as they go into the dressing rooms as we've seen in other sports.
Well, Sean Edwards, thank you very much for joining us. The youngsters, the future of Great Britain Rugby League, walk off the field, and possibly tonight has been a learning experience as much as anything. Many of them, of course, are in the first teams of their respective teams. 14 points all after 40 minutes gone in the second half. Not a bad performance from Great Britain, but a very good performance from France.